From the Ventura County Office of Education, this is the Focus on Education podcast. And now, here's your host, Ventura County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. César Morales.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Focus on Education. One of the core values of our public school system is that all students have the right to a quality education. That includes kids who face serious challenges in their lives. We're talking about foster youth, students experiencing homelessness, and students from migrant families. The Ventura County Office of Education has a variety of programs to help these students succeed in school. Here to tell us more about them is our Director of Student Services, Mike Winters. Mike, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Dr. Morales. It's my pleasure.
Which students are served by your department?
In our department, we support our students who are in foster care, foster youth students, our students experiencing homelessness, and our students in our migrant education program.
We're very excited to find out more about student services here from Ventura County Office of Education. How serious is the homelessness situation for students in Ventura County?
Well, I think when you look at the data, I think we can see that not only in Ventura County, but statewide, there are some concerns with the amount of students who we have who are experiencing homelessness. So for the 2023-24 school year in Ventura County, our districts and charters reported over 8,000 students who are experiencing homelessness, which is about 6.8% of our total student population here in Ventura County. And that's slightly elevated from the state average of 4.8%. So it is definitely a concern here in Ventura County. I think it's important to recognize that when we look at homelessness, we see a trend that's going up each year. So at this point in the year, we're only 7 students away from our number from last year. So we see that number trending even higher by the end of this school year. Homelessness is defined in 2 different ways. We have the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. When they look at the number of homeless individuals in a community, they basically are just looking at people who are unhoused or people who are living in a shelter. But in the United States, for educational purposes, we have the McKinney-Vento Act, which outlined different criteria for students living in homelessness. So because of that, the number is very elevated over the HUD number of just over 2,300 individuals in Ventura County for last year. And we find that the vast majority of those are families, as outlined in the criteria for the McKinney-Vento Act, who are living temporarily doubled up due to economic hardship or loss of housing. So yeah, it is a serious concern statewide.
Yeah, 8,000 students experiencing homelessness is definitely an alarming number, and would warrant services to help them be successful in schools. Thank you for explaining the difference between that lower count number that HUD puts out via county agencies and knowing that the true impact in our school system that our school districts are dealing with is that 8,000 student number. What type of services are we offering here at Ventura County Office of Education to support the homeless students?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have a great homeless education program team, and what we do is we basically work with all of our districts. Each district is mandated to have a homeless youth liaison. We work really strongly with those folks to make sure that we're coordinating and aligning services to best support our students. So what that's going to look like is our liaisons are working really hard to identify students experiencing homelessness in districts and then reporting that, and then making sure that the students have what they need. And really what we want is that every student that's experiencing homelessness or has instability really gets the same services and has access to the same programs that every student has in their school. So we're looking at providing transportation to and from the school of origin. We're looking at providing school supplies, referrals to community-based organizations or county agencies, hygiene kits, bus passes, and other academic support that students might need because of their situation.
You know, in Ventura County, we're very fortunate to have a team of agencies and nonprofit partners that join forces in meeting the needs of our community and students. And definitely, I've seen our student services team partner with the nonprofit sector here to provide additional support for the homeless students in a variety of ways and campaigns throughout the year. So kudos to our nonprofit partners.
Absolutely.
What challenges presently right now do foster youth face in the school? You mentioned that the Student Services Department supports foster youth. What are the challenges and what does that look like?
Yeah, unfortunately we see, due to many different circumstances, our foster youth have a lot of challenges. And if you think about the life of a student in foster care that could span grades TK through 12, we're looking at possibly a number of different places, right? So that means increased mobility from school to school, district to district, caregiver to caregiver. With that, a lot of times we see that they don't have a consistent support system in place, which can be detrimental. Many times due to the nature of the removal of the student to a foster family, there may be some trauma there. So we also see that there are some emotional, mental health, or behavioral challenges that students also exhibit. One thing that someone might not think about is due to the transportation, students in foster care might not always be able to participate in extracurricular activities at school. And we know a lot of times those are the activities that really draw students and help them to feel more part of a school. That's a concern as well. And to be honest with you, sometimes there is that social stigma of foster students and some isolation there potentially. Because of the many challenges that foster students face, what we do see is that historically we see a lower graduation rate, high school graduation rate for our students in foster care, as well as higher rates of suspension and higher rates of chronic absenteeism.
Are there specific services that we provide for foster youth that you want to highlight? And I know our team specifically is trying to tackle that high school completion and college attainment piece. In the broad scope of services that we provide, is there some you want to highlight? And also touch on that equity aspect of trying to ensure their success and attainment in the school system.
Yeah, that's another great question. So for our foster youth servicing coordinating system group here does a great job. Essentially, we're a conduit between child welfare in Ventura County and the districts and their mandated foster liaison, which is a requirement as well. So we really do everything we can to ensure that students are getting everything they need and addressing the needs of both systems. So what that's going to look like is we have things in place. You mentioned a big one is our coordination with supporting our students in 12th grade. So we have a designated employee who works with them one-on-one, talks about post-secondary plans, helps them with college applications, helps them to apply for scholarships, helps them to fill out financial aid paperwork like the FAFSA or the CADA. So we do a great job with that. We also help facilitate transportation to the school of origin, so that's something that's required as well. We spend a lot of time doing that, and essentially just working with all of the different agencies and different professionals to make sure our students have the ultimate amount of support that they need.
Mike, you mentioned earlier that migrant education is part of the Student Services Department. What is the Migrant Education Program?
Yeah, the Migrant Education Program has been around for quite some time. Initially established in 1965, it is a federal program, and although there are both state and federal rules that dictate how we run the program, it is funded through the federal government through Part C of Title I. And essentially it came about as a way to ensure that students who are migratory in nature are receiving the support, access to the rigid state standards that we have here in California, and that they are academically successful.
Great. What services are we providing for migrant students? And ballpark, what numbers are we working with here in our county?
Yeah, so we just had a little celebration. We just surpassed 2,000 students who are enrolled in the program. And the services we provide are supplemental, so we encourage as many students to participate as possible, so that varies year to year. But we have a great Saturday school program, summer school program. We have a school readiness program for students ages 3 through 5. We started last year a great STEM and coding virtual experience program, which the kids love. We have case management for our high school students, speech and debate, and we have other activities for families as well. So.
You recently had a migrant education speech and debate program. Can you tell us a little bit about that program and the recent event?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, before I do that, I do want to highlight some other events that we recently had. So we're not about just doing the supplemental work with the students. We want to really expose students to some great experiences. So we had our first ever student leadership summer in January here at VCOE. We had a keynote. It was a fantastic event. We had our annual family conference in Oxnard in February. Great turnout, great workshops for our parents so they can continue to be lifelong learners. And then just last weekend, our speech and debate tournament was held at Ventura College, and another great success where students really put themselves out there to practice public speaking via either speeches or debates, and really proud of the hard work that our students did. We will be taking all of our first place winners up to Monterey for the state tournament in May, so we're excited about that. And again, we're coordinating with our Board of Supervisors in May as well to have all of our students be recognized by the Board of Supervisors. So another great event, and just so proud of our students and all that they accomplish.
That's awesome to hear. Do undocumented students have a legal right to attend public schools?
They do, yes. So students have a right to a free and public education regardless of their or their parents' or guardians' immigration status. And in California, students have a right to a safe, secure, and peaceful school environment that is free from intimidation, violence, bullying, harassment, and intimidation.
How have we been assisting our migrant community during these challenging times that we're in right now?
The first thing that comes to mind is we've been really deliberate about staying the course. We did not put a pause on any of our programs. These are services that benefit our students and our families. So when we're looking at our supplemental services or our parent engagement or student engagement activities, we've gone full force, and we're just doing everything we can because we know that these are opportunities that are going to benefit our parents and our students. And I think secondly, we've been really working to collaborate with our district and community partners to identify information, to identify resources, to vet those resources, and to store those in a place where they're accessible to all of our districts, so we all have the best information, and then making sure that we're sharing that information out with our community.
Thank you, Mike. Your department and you dedicate your daily work to meeting the needs of the most vulnerable population in our county. I want to thank you and the team for your consistent effort in that. As we review the local control accountability plans, the LCAPs from all of our districts, we often see goals that are targeted at meeting the needs of the population that you're focused on. And I'm very proud of the fact of all of the effort of all of our school districts for doing just that, focusing their resources and attention on the population that needs it the most. It almost seems, though, that we continue to have students that have high needs, and we can't do it alone. Our districts can't do it alone. Here at the County Office of Education, we can't do it alone. And I know I referenced in the past, we have a lot of community partners and agencies, the joint efforts. I'm very excited right now of the current Community Schools Initiative. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because even though there's so much going on in your department, the Community Schools Initiative also lives there. So can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Absolutely, yeah. Community schools, really excited about. Community schools concept has been around for a number of years nationwide. California started the Community Schools Grant in 2021 and then actually assigned some funding in 2022. At that time, districts and individual schools were able to apply for additional funds that would help with this community school concept. The community school concept is great. It's basically, at the school level, looking at your school, doing a needs assessment of your students, your families, your community, and then trying to bring in resources to the school that will help support the community. So if a school did a needs assessment and they found out there was some food instability or there were some other needs, they could, for instance, create like a community hub at their school, and they could staff that and have resources available to families where families could just stop by. They could maybe have a food pantry there, or a clothing pantry, and do other things that would benefit the community. It can also be that a school just looks at its internal structures and says, we want to change some things to best align with our needs and with our community, and come up with some procedures at school that will best to meet that need. But yeah, we're really proud. We currently have 4 school districts along with Ventura County Office of Education Schools and Programs that have a grant, and the last grant round just ended, and we had 5 or 6 other Ventura County school districts apply, so they'll find out probably in about a month if they'll be funded. But to help support them, we also, VCOE, received a coordination grant as the County Office of Education, so we have a coordinator who interfaces with our districts, and each district and then each individual school is going to have their own individual needs, but our coordinator here can interface with those folks and find out how we can best support them as far as professional development or bringing in other resources. So we're really excited, and we're hoping to get a bunch more schools on board. The grant ends in 2031, and the goal is for districts and schools to start building in a way to sustain that funding through other means when the grant ends in 2031. But yeah, really exciting program, exciting to be part of it.
Mike, right now the federal narrative has raised a lot of questions on federal funding for a variety of school programs. You touch on a lot of the most vulnerable population here in Ventura County. What is your take on the current times, and should we be concerned about funding loss in this area?
Yeah, both of our foster youth and homeless youth grants are state funded, so I believe those hopefully will stay status quo. I think when we look at what's going on at the federal level right now, we haven't received any indication that our Title I Part C funds will be cut, which would lessen our support for the migrant education program. We're just planning on staying the course, and we'll see what happens. I think that we're remaining calm, and we're just doing the best we can to serve our student populations, and we'll continue to do so.
That'll wrap it up for this episode, Mike. We really appreciate your time today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Focus on Education is a production of the Ventura County Office of Education. We encourage you to subscribe and join us each month for new episodes. You can find Focus on Education wherever you get your podcasts or at vcoe.org/podcast. We also welcome your feedback. You can email us at communications@vcoe.org.